Hello everyone, welcome back to Backlog Banter. My name is Tucker Hazel, and this is of course my co-host with a brand spanking new release date, Abram Buhner, and today we're here to talk about Nintendo's 2022 and some of the changes that have been made over the past few weeks. We're talking about Breath of the Wild 2 being officially delayed. We're talking about Splatoon 3 being officially delayed through a trailer this morning, which of course, go watch Abram's reaction, it's card in the corner. And of course, Xenoblade 3 being undelayed, being pushed forward for the first time in video game history. Of course, this is monumental. We're breaking new ground here, folks. But if you would like to break new ground with us, you can join our Discord. Link at the top of the description. You can subscribe to the channel. You can like the video. You can comment on the video. You can ring that bell, ring a ding ding. You know what I'm saying? Oh boy, everyone. We're here to talk about Nintendo. That's not new information for us, but
No.
we've got new information to talk about.
Tucker, just as your body goes through changes, Nintendo's calendar years go through changes too.
This is true. This is 2022's puberty cycle.
Yes. And I feel like we have
cycle.
a mix of good and bad, expected and unexpected changes to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, we know, barring any like stealth announcements, we pretty much know what's happening through September, right?
Yeah.
We can even extrapolate because the Pokemon company runs like a fucking train schedule. Mm-hmm. We can basically extrapolate through November too.
Yeah.
But in terms of hard release dates, right? We know we're a week away from Switch Sports.
Yes, we are.
Nothing in May.
Nope.
And then we have the 1-2 punch of Mario Strikers and
what's the name of that game? Hold on, let's rewind.
Battle League.
Shit! I tried to catch you in your act right there.
And Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes.
You got it.
And then July now, like you said, we have Xenoblade. Nothing in August, I don't believe.
As far as I don't know.
And then September we've got Splatoon. October we don't know. November is Pokemon. I don't give a fuck. That's when Pokemon's releasing.
Yeah.
So we basically, Tucker, if nothing else happened for 2022, I think we have a slate, especially given the names we already got. But my question for you, looking forward now, how do you feel about all this?
I think my thoughts on the year on the whole hasn't really changed because, a Splatoon here, a Xenoblade there, it's all coming out in the year. And because of that's still two, at least for me, massive titles that I can't wait to play. And we're picking up day one that are going to be big deals for the addition of the Switch's library, expanding the series, growing even more. Both of these games getting new entries in the franchise. Both of these are pretty small series and are now more popular than they've ever been. I am very excited for everything that they've got, but I also do think that there still is room, and I do expect there to be more games to be announced. The October being empty, August being empty, December being empty, they've shown, especially with last year's E3, they are not adverse to announcing essentially an entire other slate of games in the summer slot and having them release across the course of the next 6 months or whatever. We got Metroid Dread, Mario Party, and WarioWare all announced on the same fucking day and released within 4 months of each other. And so I do think that we will get more things announced, but as it stands, I think Nintendo's 2022 has been strong so far already. I think we've got a solid middle of the year and a very great end of the year with Pokemon and Splatoon, which are your two favorite Nintendo franchises. They're two of my favorite Nintendo franchises. Like, this year is great on the whole, but I still do think we can... this is great, but it could be better.
Sure.
What about 1984?
God, I haven't thought about that movie in a while. So here's what I think. I think you made an erroneous statement, Tucker Hazel. You said that Splatoon and Xenoblade both small franchises. Mm-hmm. Now here's what's interesting. Splatoon, huge Nintendo franchise.
That's a great point.
And this game is, I think, only going to get bigger because something that's really remarkable, actually, if you check Twitter, as of the time of recording, the North American Splatoon account tweeted, hey, Splatoon 3 I have COVID, I'm sorry Splatoon 3 release date, 14,000 likes on the tweet. Japanese Splatoon account tweets 189,000 likes on the tweet.
Wow. Okay.
There is
Backlog Banter reaction video, 20
views. There is a discrepancy, I think, between the ways that we perceive Splatoon.
Sure.
And Splatoon is big everywhere. I mean, Splatoon 3 pushed over 12 million copies. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Splatoon 2 pushed over 12 million copies. I really think Splatoon 3 could do 15 million or better.
Yeah, sure.
So the reason I bring this up is not just to be a pedantic Peter, but because I think that there is a real tactical component to putting this game in September.
Sure, okay. Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit too simple. The more I think about it, to suggest that Splatoon wasn't ready, so they flipped it with Xenoblade.
Yeah.
To me, it almost signals that maybe Nintendo doesn't have anything else major for the rest of 2022 after Splatoon 3. And there'll be a sort of thing of, here's Splatoon to gain some momentum, Pokemon, maybe you throw in a Bayonetta there
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
there's space, or some of these other smaller quote unquote games. But I think that Splatoon 3 is going to be so big that I don't necessarily think that Nintendo is going to have something else in the holiday season. Now, as we've said at various other points, I think mainly in the Discord, I don't think it's in a video never posted. But I think that if there's going to be a holiday surprise, it will be Donkey Kong.
Sure. Yeah.
But I do think that with the kind of the run of the year right now, Nintendo probably isn't in a position where they need anything else of scale.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, Peter, I apologize directly to you. I didn't mean to insinuate that that Xenoblade and Splatoon were on the same level in terms of popularity. I only meant to insinuate that they have the same number of mainline games.
Sure.
In terms of, these are both the third in their trilogies. Yes. I know Xenoblade X isn't real. Wii U doesn't count. Whatever.
That's the best one.
Yeah. I am equally excited for both these games, but I do think that you're right. Obviously, Splatoon, much bigger deal, and I think them putting it in the holiday slot, quote unquote, but positioning it near the end of the year where bigger games do come out, gives this a little bit of a spark that maybe it still would have had in summer, but I think maybe this is Nintendo realizing, not that they don't need anything else, but that Splatoon is big enough to carry a holiday, and they're positioning it as something to do that now.
Yeah, and where it gets tricky is September good enough to be holiday, right? And
sure, great point.
I don't know, because ultimately we have seen Nintendo, I think, walk back holiday.
What holiday means?
Traditionally, when you think of a holiday release, you're thinking of that November slot.
Yeah.
Where Nintendo used to really consistently put their biggest games, right? Yeah. Throughout the Wii U era, I always remember, you get your fucking 3D world in your Link Between Worlds, right? The Day of the Worlds. I think that was in November. Fuck it, I don't care. The point is, usually when you think of holiday, it's later. It's later.
Yeah.
September is fall.
Yes.
However, we've seen Nintendo arguably put their biggest game of the year in the holiday half, let's call it, or holiday third of the year, further and further back towards summer. Like Super Mario Odyssey, end of October, right? Instead of being in November. Metroid Dread,
early October.
First week of October, right? So I think...
Well, let's be categorical. Metroid Dread was not their holiday game last year. They had Mario Party and Pokemon to do that.
Sure. That's a fair point. But even Mario Party was still, middle October?
Something like that.
Or no,
those fucking games were released way too close together.
It was holiday. It was around Halloween. It was a Halloween weekend. Okay. But the point is, we've seen Nintendo start to slide that scale back. But I think that even September might be a bridge too far.
Might be a bridge too far, sure.
But I think it might just suggest that maybe finally they are just going to say, hey, Pokemon can do it.
Yeah.
Or they're going to announce something else big, because Tucker, here's what's interesting to me, right? In the span of about a week, we clarified a lot of that release calendar.
Absolutely.
But we still have Advance Wars, we still have Bayonetta, and we still have Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope slot in places. What do you think about that?
I think that those games are all still coming. I think that what we are seeing here is that I don't know what, honestly, frankly, I do not know what's going on with Nintendo right now. The fact that we have gotten all of this through erroneous tweets and trailers and stuff is very peculiar to me.
It is strange, yeah.
And because all of this is our big deals, the announcement of a game moving up, which I don't think we've gotten into enough yet. I certainly want to talk more about that.
We definitely will, yeah.
Is a big thing to drop immediately. The Splatoon 3's strangely late release date is a big deal, and I think this trailer will do numbers, but having it on its own just randomly with frankly, not a great trailer, it's just fucking gameplay.
It's just gameplay.
All of it is peculiar, and especially the Breath of the Wild 2 thing, which was just was it a video or was it just like a text post? I can't even remember this. It was a
Metroid Prime 4-esque development update, because remember we got Aonuma with his nice new haircut.
That's true.
Who came out and delayed the game and showed us 2 seconds footage.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. It does beg the question, why wasn't this bundled in some kind of direct presentation, right? Because ultimately, I think you throw in a nice little announcement or two, and you have a solid direct from a first-party perspective before you even throw in third parties and indies and everything. But obviously, they opted not to do that. And maybe it's the sort of thing where we're just like trying to clear the field
Sure.
before for like an E. There is no E3,
E3.
but an E3 direct,
Yeah.
where you maybe have the smaller announcements to fill out some of those spots, and then you do go, okay, hey, we haven't said that much about Mario plus Rabbids.
Yeah.
We haven't said that much about Bayonetta. Let's
Yeah.
clarify those. I think that's possible.
I do think what I'm smelling here is a middle of the year direct in which we get I think it opens on a full Breath of the Wild 2 story trailer with a release date at the end and the fucking name and
Could
all
be,
that.
yeah.
Or it ends with that, whatever. But Bayonetta, you're right. Mario and Rabbids release date, Bayonetta release date, one or two more games in there. That's a great direct already
Yeah.
right there. But also that means that we don't have maybe there's a small Splatoon 3 thing, maybe there's a small Xenoblade thing, but we're not the weight of these release dates being in there is not adding a lot more big stuff to this direct. Maybe you're right, clearing the field for games that are equally as big. I mean, Bayonetta probably in the same scale as Xenoblade, Breath of the
Yeah,
Wild in the
actually, I don't
same
know.
scale as Splatoon. Like
Yeah.
this is a good balance, but we'll have to see if they're able to strike it when we do get that middle of the year direct.
Yeah, and we'll see about that. There's something left to speculate about, but I think there's also a lot that's concrete that's fun to talk about here too, because I think that there is a really nice balance of release dates right now.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
I like that we're rolling into Switch Sports, and then we'll see if May ends up actually having nothing. I don't think it's impossible for like Advance Wars to land there,
Sure.
or maybe it lands in August. I don't
Jump
know.
Rope Challenge 2.
Jump Rope Challenge 2, right?
What was the
But I
fucking
think
Garage Builder game?
Game
2?
Builder Garage.
Game Builder Garage 2.
I think we've got a nice little clip of games coming, even before we get a fun direct and everything of going Switch Sports, the June titles, which I think are whatever.
Yeah.
I think Strikers will be fun. I don't really care about that Fire Emblem game.
Yeah.
And then into Xenoblade, little bit of gap into Splatoon. I think that all sounds great. I think that
Yeah.
that is a really strong summer season. Nintendo summers are usually pretty hit or miss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm excited for all of those.
Yeah.
Even the ones that I don't have any personal investment in, Strikers and Warriors. It's an opportunity for me because, frankly, otherwise summer is pretty lackluster for the games industry. As we
Yeah.
put a video up a couple weeks ago, that I'm gonna have time to focus on these games, and I'm excited to give them a try because from what we've seen, I think they both look good. They're not exceptional, but I'm
Which
interested
ones?
to learn more. Fucking Mario Strikers
Okay.
and Fire Emblem Warriors. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think Fire Emblem Warriors looks especially good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really interested in it. Frankly, I'm not even sure I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
And Xenoblade is hit or miss for me, but Xenoblade is obviously a big deal for a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And I suppose it's a good juncture to talk about the push up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think it is just another testament to fucking Monolithsoft, the workhorses of Nintendo. I think they're their strongest team from an output perspective, from a consistent quality perspective. But the fact that, let's think back. 2017, reveal
Right.
trailer of Xenoblade 2. It says it's coming this year. And I was like, there ain't no fucking way. There's no fucking way that happens. And guess
Right.
what? E3 2017, we get that trailer, boom. Fucking December, I think it was. Wow,
Yeah.
holy shit, the game is coming this year. It comes out. It's in my opinion, a great game. It adds something to Switch's library, and then we get holy shit, we get Definitive Edition that comes out pretty quickly, and it's a very quality game. They're of course helping with fucking every other team, and now Xenoblade 3 looks just as quality and is coming out in an even shorter time span. It's just I think all of this just leads me back to, man, I'm so impressed by what Monolithsoft is doing, that they're able to, for frankly the only time I can remember in my lifetime of video games, push a game forward.
Yeah, I
by a
can't
few
think of an
months.
example.
We're so used to getting things delayed, even if it's just for a few weeks or a couple months, or drop the release date. It's coming out next year. We need more time. No, this game is ready. And Nintendo is notorious for finishing games and sitting on them. But this is the first time we're like, no, yeah, the game is ready. Let's just give it to them.
Yeah, that's why I think it goes back into we need something bigger in September than Xenoblade,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Because I really can't think of an example of a game being pushed up.
Yeah.
But I can think of plenty of examples of Nintendo having finished games they don't release until a strategic point, right? So I am frankly not that surprised that Monolith finished just because of their track record. Because the other thing you were like, you forgot to mention is like Torna. Torna was supposed to just be an expansion, but they're like, actually, this game has so much fucking content, we're going to press it to a cartridge and release it separately, right?
Yep.
Monolith, I think you're right. I think that Monolith is certainly the most important studio Nintendo has outside of their own
Yeah.
internal teams.
Mhm.
Because not only do they provide something to the ecosystem that nobody else does, which are these humongous open world JRPGs,
Mhm.
but they provide like support infrastructure for a lot of other really important games, right? Breath of the Wild.
Basically everyone.
Yeah, Breath
They
of the
helped with
Wild, Sword and Shield.
didn't they help with Animal Crossing in some way? Am I wrong about that?
Probably. I don't
Who
fucking
the
know.
fuck knows?
But the point is they are super important.
Hmm.
And again, it's not really my type of game. I think I'll probably try it as I do
Yeah.
with every one, but I was shown the battle UI for this one. I'm like, I am not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can do this, Miles. I'm
Sure.
sorry, but no, I'll be very curious to see how this one does, because the funny thing about Xenoblade is that it gets so much content,
Hmm.
especially now.
Yeah.
Like in a post 2 environment, as you're saying, hit after hit after hit, characters in Smash,
Hmm.
representation in X, Y, and Z places.
Yeah.
But the games don't sell that well,
Hmm.
really. Not to the scale of a lot of other Nintendo series by
Yeah,
any
naturally.
margin. So it'll be really curious to see how this one does. But I was also interested at that move up, but for me, not being a Xenoblade fan, it was more of like, what does this moving forward mean? And what it
Yeah.
meant is that Splatoon could take that spot.
Exactly. And frankly, I think I'm very happy that we have both these announcements together, because I think
Sure.
it makes them come into conversation in a really interesting way of what, not only what's the year as a whole going to look like in terms of release calendar, but how does Nintendo position both these games?
Yeah.
It brings into conversation the fact that they do finish games and sit on them. It brings into conversation the fact that Monolithsoft is a very prolific and in quality developer. Like it's a very fun conversation to have, because we got both of them close together. Like we weren't waiting for the Splatoon 3 release date
Right.
for another 2 months, and we're like, oh, okay, so I guess it switched places with these. Nobody like, no, it definitely did, and
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think it just makes sense at this point,
Hmm.
right? I think Nintendo's doing a nice job of balancing their Scrimblow games and their Mick JRPG games this
Sure.
year. Because I think that
Jesus
there's a
Christ.
prevailing sentiment in directs, which I certainly feel being on the side of, and now it's time for the anime rock block, right?
Yeah. Oh,
And some
yes. That happens almost every time.
and yes, and sometimes it really feels like that is the doldrums we end up in with a period of releases from Nintendo.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think this year, what we're moving into, and actually throughout the entire year, has been really good, right? Pokemon, I think, kind of threads the needle where it
Yeah.
appeals to both, right?
Mhm.
But you've got Kirby and you've got Triangle Strategy.
Yep.
So no matter which side of the Scrimblow JRPG divide you fall on, you got something, right? But now we're moving into, I think, a really nice balance of games. The casual local multiplayer title in Switch Sports,
And Mario Strikers.
and Mario Strikers, but I think Mario Strikers
Less casual. Sure.
less casual.
Yeah. Great point.
But then you've got that balanced up by your fucking weave, dumb purple hair, orange jacket nonsense
Yep.
Fire Emblem game.
Hmm.
And then you've got Xenoblade followed up, not right away, but pretty closely by Splatoon.
Hmm.
That just feels like the right
And
cadence.
then
for
threaded the
everything.
needle once again with another fucking Pokemon game, because
Right.
Scarlet and Violet is releasing this goddamn year.
Yeah. And then it leaves those gaps, as we're saying, May, August, and then October, December to pluck in a couple more titles, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you think May gets anything?
No, I think you're right in
Yeah.
that I think the only possibility is a weird downloadable game that they have not shown off yet, in the vein of,
Yeah.
I say jump rope challenge. I don't actually mean on that scale, because that's like
Right.
it's like giving someone a sticker and saying, "Hey, it's a video game." But they've done things like Good Job or the Stretchers, or they've had these scale
1, 2,
games.
3 switch.
No, they'd fucking show that off in a goddamn direct, and you know it. That they could put out, or
Yeah.
I think you're right in terms of Advance Wars could have its release date there, but I don't even want to think about that, frankly.
Yeah.
But the rest of the year, I think, is a little bit clearer to me in that they do have the space. There's a lot of games coming out, but they do have the space to fill it in with something on the scale of WarioWare or what's another game that like Astral Chain. Like these games that aren't going to sell super well, but like fill in these gaps pretty nicely.
I love the idea of Platinum Games releasing something else this year.
Oh Christ!
That isn't Xenoblade. Or sorry, that isn't Bayonetta.
Yeah.
But no, here's the way I think about it, right? I actually think that it probably will be that 1, 2, 3 switch game.
Really?
Because people are talking about it. And Imran Khan.
I forgot that was rumored.
Imran Khan put out a really weird tweet the other day, being like, here's Nintendo's lineup. And he was like, May redacted.
Oh, really?
So
I didn't see that. Interesting. Interesting.
can you fact check me on that, by the way, just to make
No.
sure?
How the fuck would I find
You
that?
just
Like,
check
off
his
the head?
Twitter account.
Yeah, but I would have to like scroll off.
Nah, fuck it. Who cares? The point is, I think he said that. If he didn't say that, Imran, sorry, I don't know. But the point is,
You
I
know, you
think
watch his videos.
yeah, he does. Friend of the show. For legal reasons, that's not true. But I think that May would have something little like that. I think most likely. I think May is too close of a bump for Advance Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I say Advance Wars in August.
Sure.
I say Bayonetta in October.
Sure.
And I think Mario Rabbids Sparks of Hope lands
squeaks into 2022 at the end. Sure.
Well, here's what's interesting with that game, right?
Yeah.
Mario plus Rabbids, I believe, sold more than 10 million copies. Can you fact check me on that?
That is easy information to come across.
I think that game sold a lot of fucking units. Because if it did,
cells. I put cells instead of cells. Oh, that's fucking funny. 7.5 million.
Okay, 7.5. So it's still a lot. The point
especially for a new IP. And for such a weird fucking game.
New IP.
Yeah, well, whatever. Fuck you.
Yeah. I don't think it's impossible that is like the holiday game. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, it's not internal developed by Ubisoft. It's also another fucking RPG. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Of course, a different type of RPG, right?
Yeah.
Strategy RPG. So it'd be interesting to see that.
And triangle strategy.
Right. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that there are otherwise too few JRPGs or the right number. There's too many JRPGs this year. But no, I think that might make sense in the holiday or in December. Sure. Who fucking knows? Or it's just delayed out of the year.
Yeah. Nintendo,
who knows?
Watch this video, take notes. We don't know what we're talking about, but trust us.
Yeah. But concretely, what's your personal, as we're getting out of the video, what's your personal excitement level about this slate?
I think it all looks great. I mean, I'm excited for each one of them for different reasons and different levels. But I think on the whole, and especially combined with what we started this year with a reinvention of the Pokemon and Kirby series,
right?
Like, this is a incredible lineup of games. 2022, I think, has the strongest and richest across the year. Like, there are no gaps in this year where we're getting tentpole titles across the year, entries in different franchises, reinventions, different scales. Like, I think this is a incredible lineup of games, frankly, from Nintendo.
Yeah, I think they're doing a good job with not only the content, the cadence of it. Yeah. And that's really, I think, what was nailed down. Oh, we forgot to talk about Breath of the Wild 2 being delayed.
Yeah, no, but that doesn't really matter. Like, we did know the game coming out. We know no new information about the game except for it's not this year, and that means probably March next year. Let's be fucking real.
Yeah, and we also did a video called "This Game's like it's too late" or whatever. I'm like, this game's being delayed. So I've been on record. You can go fucking find that video if you want. But no, I'm quite happy with this year. Like I said, I've basically been burnt by these Warriors games one too many times, so my hype there is pretty low.
I think the last thing I want to leave this on is we're talking about all this now.
Yeah,
I'm feeling good about it, but I'm also under the reservation of, like 2021, man, didn't that look like an awesome slate? But also, a lot of those games, I would say most of those games didn't hit like they should have and underwhelmed me. And now looking back at 2021, I'm like, not a really great slate of games from Nintendo. One or two fucking diamonds in the rough, but otherwise pretty mediocre. It could happen this year. It's not impossible. But I do think that with the track record of things like Splatoon and Xenoblade and Pokemon, it'll be harder for that to happen.
Yes.
But it's also possible. So I'm not gonna go out guns blazing at the end of the year and be like, no, actually it was all terrible. I can't believe what we're fucking talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right about that. But I think that there's a distinct chance that Mario Strikers and Splatoon end up releasing late-on content. I think that is really possible.
Yeah.
But for me, most subjectively, I think Splatoon is looking very exciting. As you say, it's hard to mess that up.
Yeah.
It's hard to mess up Xenoblade. Well, hard to make Xenoblade look fun, but it's also hard to mess it up, apparently.
Yeah.
But no, I'm quite pleased. Switch Sports, boom.
Can't wait for it, actually, honestly. Yeah. And you know, it's fucking 2 days before that.
No, actually.
Stanley Parable.
Oh.
That's in 5 days. Holy shit. Is there anything else about this year? We haven't gotten any Pokemon information yet, though I guess it's not particularly surprising.
Who gives a fuck?
You and me.
Oh, right. You're always catching me when I slip.
Yep.
I had an idea, by the way.
Me on the ground waiting for you to step on that banana peel that I placed.